terrible on me, but I'd actually forgotten on the way here that you are also a veteran.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I was a Navy veteran.
Navy veteran.
2 years.
2 years?
After the war was over, well, we traveled in and around Tokyo quite a bit, and that's where I think that we were a little bit at risk because the Japanese had just been defeated, and they hadn't taken it very well.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't play football until you didn't have the opportunity to play football until your senior year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I started the first game against Tyndall, and I scored 2 touchdowns.
We figured we had our first date in October, and we were married the following August. From then on, it kind of proceeded. And
All downhill.
what do you mean, all downhill?
Well, I mean that a compliment.
Oh, all right. I don't always get his compliments.
Well,
right.
you can go downhill a lot easier than go uphill. Not too long ago, I ran the half marathon.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago it was, but
You're in your 80s.
You were in your
You're in your
80s
80s.
when you
When you ran the last half marathon, you were in your 80s.
my 80s.
Yes.
About 85,
Wow.
I think.
85-ish.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's amazing. That's quite a feat.
the half marathon was it wasn't impossible, but it was a strain.
He's never had any significant injuries, hasn't had knee issues, hasn't had shoulder issues, hasn't been in the hospital.
No joint surgery of any
I
kind.
mean, which is
That is
incredible. At almost 98 years old, he hasn't had anything replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So other than,
Getting knocked out in boxing.
yep, you got knocked out in boxing.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that a couple months
Spent
ago.
the time in the hospital for observation because they thought there was some things dangling around in my head that didn't stay in place.
Hello, this is Jimbo from the YouTube channel Jimbo, South Dakota, and today I am with some very special friends. They're very dear to me. We have Mr. Glen Nelson, his wife, Mrs. Shalane Nelson. She's talking to me about just call her Shalane and Glen, and I just can't get used to that. And their oldest son, Craig. And just very briefly, he was my math teacher in school, football coach, my wrestling coach, and sold us our acreage, my wife and I, 33 years ago now. And that's after you retired from teaching. So you got quite a legacy here, and Craig will be going into some of how he followed that legacy as well. So, yeah, thanks for coming, you guys. I greatly appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. You bet. So we're just going to start from the beginning, like the way beginning, and just tell us whatever you want to about where you were born, your family, siblings, whatever you want to say, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I'll start out. I was born in Vermillion on a farm 1 mile east of the city on next to a dairy farm. And that's where I got my first job working, was on the dairy farm. I used to herd the cows when there was no pastures to be found, and I used to milk the cows when they needed to be milked. Most of it was done by machines, but you still had to finish them off by hand. And so I got plenty of chances to work with the cows. Some of my favorite hours came from the barn when in the wintertime, the cows did their business and splattered around, and then they took their tails and they swatted around. And sometimes their swats didn't always meet the mark of their spots. And so you went home smelling like a lot.
Yeah, it's like a big old mop hanging under there.
Yeah.
I had some cousins with dairy farms, so I know exactly what you're
yes.
talking about. And they'll whoop you right in the face
Yep.
right when you, well, you never want it, but
Yeah.
it's worse when it's full of muck like that.
Is that where they got that term that it hits the fan?
Yeah.
So how many brothers and sisters did you have then?
I had 3 sisters and 1 brother.
Mm-hmm.
My one brother died early. He was in World War II and suffered quite a bit during it, but he did get out alive, and he went to college and got his degree in accounting, and he worked for Walgreen Drug in Chicago for many years until he retired and died.
Mm-hmm.
And then my 2 younger sisters, they're still living. One is in Florida, and the other is in, help me, dear,
Indiana.
Indiana.
And Howard, South Dakota.
And Howard, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's hop over to you. Where were you born? And
Carthage, South Dakota.
okay, I've heard Carthage a lot at our meetings because we've been meeting once a
Oh,
month.
yes.
He invited me a couple years
Right.
ago,
And that's
where you're from.
where I'm from. My father had the newspaper business there. It was in the family for close to 100 years.
Oh my.
And Carthage is a small town, probably maybe had a 700, 800 population before the interstate went in.
Oh yeah.
And when the interstate went in, that cut it off. We still had a railroad for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the eldest of 3 sisters and very interested in children. And at 2 years old, I knew that I wanted a baby.
There you go.
I wanted to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I figured out that it was going to take more than that, I proceeded to work on that.
Sure.
So in high school, you're talking about the dairy. I remember going with a boy in high school that his parents had the dairy, and he would come, and I was ushering at the theater, which my parents also owned, and we'd have to wait in the back there so I could usher. But whenever he held my hand, there was the smell of soap, milk, and Lysol.
Yep. Yep, for sure.
And my parents said, "You can't just be a mother, Shalane. You have to have something to fall back on in case you're ever alone with children." Mm-hmm. And so I did go to college, Yankton College, which is defunct, as is my high school, so that maybe shows something. And I taught for 1 year in Yankton, South Dakota. Mm-hmm. And I met Glen at a fraternity dance the first time. He doesn't remember that, but I do. And then he had been in Carthage for 2 years when I started teaching in Yankton. And then I went home, and where else to go other than a high school party, which I was alumni, they wanted, So I went to the party, and we visited. And then I met him later at SDA, which I had been told by spinster teachers that was the most exciting thing. Mm-hmm. Well, these people were 50 and 60, unmarried, and I went with great anticipation of what was going to go on at SDA. Well, I found out it was not very exciting.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tiemans, who was the superintendent, said, "Why don't you go home with me tonight and stay with your folks, and then we'll come to back." So Glenn and I met Glenn the next morning then, and we rode in the back seat of Mr. Tiemans' car while the former coach rode in the front seat. And during this time, and at that time Glenn still was smoking, he got the cigarette on fire with a Kleenex in the ashtray. So we spent all our time to Mitchell trying to stomp out this fire without them knowing in the back seat that we're trying to put out a fire in the front seat. They were in the back seat. And we did finally get it out. And then from then on, it kind of proceeded. And
All downhill.
what do you mean, all downhill?
Well, I mean that a compliment.
Oh, all right. I don't always get his compliments.
Well,
right.
you can go downhill a lot easier than go uphill.
Okay. It was, we figured we had our first date in October and we were married the following August. I've often thought, I can't believe my parents really allowed that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I have
I was a gem in the
jobbed.
rough. I'm definitely in the rough.
And of course, fortunately, Craig lived close, and after my children were all grown, he had 3 boys, and so we had a good 20 more years of and
Kids.
I never got over its kids.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to back up a little bit, and we're going to cover that stuff too, as well. But let's in high school. What did you think of high school? What sports were you in? Sports then? Is that how you got
Oh, yeah,
the
definitely.
urge to be a teacher and a coach?
I went to a small high school my freshman year because in Vermillion, South Dakota, we only lived a mile from the campus. They had a special deal at the University of South Dakota where they gave the teachers practice teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so they formed this high school, University High School, and it only would serve people from the country. They couldn't take anybody from the city to go to that. The city had to go to the city high school.
Okay.
And but I went there the first 3 years, and then my last year I transferred to the high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I lettered in all 3 sports: football, basketball, track, and I was pretty good, a bit on some of the things because I weighed about 200 and quite fast.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
could
didn't
run-
play football until you didn't have the opportunity to play football until your senior year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I started the first game against Tyndall, and I scored 2 touchdowns in that game. And he played me at end for some reason or other. But that was the start of my high school. Then my senior year, I went to Vermillion High School
Mm-hmm.
because they closed University High School.
Right.
And there I played end. I played a little backfield too, and but I've had a stretch of things that I did. All gave me some experience before I'm dead.
Yep. And the way it sounds is there's a lot of life in between there.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you took to the football pretty well right off the bat, huh?
Well, physically, it did because I weighed 200 pounds when I was a senior,
Mm-hmm.
and
And you're fast.
I was fast.
Yep.
I could beat anybody in Vermillion High School in the 100-yard dash.
Wow. That's amazing weighing that and having that kind of speed.
Yeah.
So those guys trying to tackle you, they had a little bit of a surprise when you put the shoulder to them, I bet.
Well, and then I went to USD, and of course they always close the practices with sprints, and I prided myself on not getting beat in the sprints.
Mm-hmm.
So I got pretty good about the 50-yard dash. And
Mm-hmm. What position were you playing in at USD?
at USD, I was a tackle.
Okay. So you're beating all the backs and everybody else and the ends in the sprints at the end there.
Yeah.
Nice. It doesn't really surprise me. I remember seeing you as a coach when you wore the coaching shorts, whether it was football practice or wrestling practice, and those muscles were just bulging out from above your knees there because he ran all the time.
Yeah, I did.
You ran well into your 60s?
85.
70s?
I ran
85.
not too long ago. I ran the half marathon.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago it was, but
You're in your 80s.
You were in your
You're in your
80s
80s.
when you
When you ran the last half marathon, you were in your 80s.
my 80s.
Yes.
About 85,
Wow.
I think.
85-ish.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's amazing. That's quite a feat.
the half marathon was it wasn't impossible, but it was a strain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
What part of your body started bothering you at first when you thought you were maybe going to slow down with running?
Well, I think that the first thing to give out is after the season is over, you take some time off to reflect on what you did, and then to start up again seemed to be the problem
Mm-hmm.
that I faced.
Yeah. Man.
He's never had any significant injuries, hasn't had knee issues, hasn't had shoulder issues, hasn't been in the hospital.
No joint surgery of any
I
kind.
mean, which is
That is
incredible. At almost 98 years old, he hasn't had anything replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than,
Getting knocked out in boxing.
yep, you got knocked out in boxing.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that a couple months
Spent
ago.
the time in the hospital for observation because they thought there was some things dangling around in my head that didn't stay in place. So they
That was
wanted
confirmed, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
to make sure that I didn't start shaking to help him get out of place.
Mm-hmm. So let's touch on the boxing. So what age were you? Were you in college or?
No, I promised my dad I would never box again. After he had to hear that I was in the hospital, having gotten knocked out
Without permission from
without
his parents.
permission.
Oh.
Tell him how it started, though. How did you get roped into the boxing match?
Well, I think that in gym class, they put gloves on us if we wanted, and I put some on, and I did a little damage, and that's when Gordon Harrington, who had graduated a few years before, offered to fight anybody from the high school, and they all pointed to me to go after him. So I didn't shy away from that, so I signed up to go.
So it wasn't at the school. This was outside of school where
No,
this
this
happened.
was school. This
It
was
was
school.
part of the school.
Part of the school? Okay.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah, I was
isn't
going
it?
to say, yeah.
Even
that's,
from when we were young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, boxing was, I mean, that was, there was some boxing, I think, taught in those days. And, there was definitely more stuff like that in
Yeah, I remember
schools for a
some
while.
guys, it was something outside of the school, but still that age bracket. I
Right.
remember hearing about some of that. I didn't have any interest in that at all. So, But
Well, my father didn't get riled up about it very much of anything, but that's one of the things that he did on the slips, permission slips. He signed everything, but he crossed out boxing. And here it was in the hospital for boxing. So it didn't go over good at all, not only with me, but with the teaching part of the deal. Because they thought that I should have been following the rule of my parent, which is true.
Yeah.
Jim,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all break it at times, but I don't know if he'll confess on any of that on camera or not. But we'll get to that.
We'll see.
I'm hearing more all the time.
Yeah, there's a couple podcasts I've done before where the one in particular where the parents talked to me a little bit later because actually it was Bill Radaski after he had passed away. We did a memorial with Dwayne Carlson and me and Bill's best Air Force friend and then his neighbor that he'd got to know for 12 years. And Bill and I got real close his last 12 years of life. But after his parents saw that, they called me up and thanked me for doing it. But his dad, Kenneth, says, yeah, we learned a few things on that podcast there.
You do.
Yeah.
So did you have any other hobbies as a kid?
No.
No hunting or didn't really probably laboring on the
With
farm
sports
is the,
was
Well, I
it.
hunted a little bit because I married into a hunting family.
That was later though, dear.
That was later. We never had a gun on the farm at all.
oh, that's
And
interesting.
so I don't know if I had any other hobbies.
No,
Yeah.
The
because
my-
I suggested to him.
my parents, my father was interested in investments.
Oh.
You know, like stock investments and that sort of thing.
So you ended up a math teacher, guy with
Yeah.
numbers. There you go.
I don't know, if there's any connection there, but there could be.
Yep. So you met in Carthage. So you were going to school there,
I was teaching in Yankton.
teaching in Yankton.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so,
And I was teaching school, Carthage.
okay. Yeah, because I thought you had ended up teaching there. So was that quite a while, or did you?
It was a
5
very short while.
Okay.
5 years, wasn't it?
What?
How long was I teaching in Carthage?
3.
3.
And we only married one of them.
Oh. Well,
Yes, he's forgotten our wedding anniversary more than once.
Well,
he what?
You've forgotten our wedding anniversary more than once.
well,
Well,
he's coming up on 98.
at least
here. I
I'm
might give him a little
consistent.
grace
We had
on that.
71 years this year.
71.
And-
Amazing.
I decided, okay, I'd be the first one. So I said, happy anniversary. And he said, oh, yeah, happy anniversary. That was the end.
There you go.
well, it's got to be an odd number.
There's a guy I used to work with that they didn't believe in spending money on cards at all. So whatever the event was, they'd be walking around like in Louis Drug or somewhere, and he'd pick out a card. She'd read it. Here's your card. They put it back. Go out to dinner. That's the way they did it.
Good way to do it. Mr. Romantic.
So did you know that you wanted to teach and coach pretty early on?
Yeah.
Or was it later high school?
No,
or
it was start of high school.
start of high school? Okay. So did you have an interest in math right away then, or did you delve in some other subjects?
Well, I always liked math. Whether it was in grade school or high school, I always liked math. Because I always felt like when you finish your math, you finished your craft. And there's no way of but you finish in history, and there's always going to be some more history.
Right. And we have a history teacher that we meet with once a month too,
Yeah,
Mr. Schaefer.
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. You're next, by the way. I think I mentioned it to you. I'm not sure, but if not, here's your official
He
invite.
should be.
And he wrote a memoir as well.
Yes.
Oh,
that I,
And
yes.
it's good.
that I read.
Good.
Yeah.
very
Yes,
good.
very
Yeah,
good.
very cool.
Very complimentary of us.
Yes.
Who's that, Schaefer?
Yeah.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
wrote those?
Yeah, he wrote that memoir about this thick. He
You've
covered
seen his
whole
book.
career.
You've seen his book.
You've seen his book.
Yeah.
You've read it.
He did
Yeah.
a great job of documenting his past. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what's so fascinating.
Right.
He, year by year.
Yeah, and the progression of the teams that he
Right.
he
Absolutely.
coached as well. Yeah. So you knew you wanted to coach early on as well?
Yes.
What do you think sparked that? What do you think got you started in wanting to actually
Well, I think
coach?
the fact that we lived
Yeah.
on the farm so close to the university
Uh-huh.
that I used to walk to school, country school, by the Inman Field where they were practicing football,
Okay.
and somehow or other I got thinking that sounds like a winner to me. So I guess I just wanted to latch on to something that I thought was going to be fun.
Well, it was fun for a long time,
Yeah.
real long time. So when you left Carthage, is that when you headed to, what was it, Sioux Falls, Washington? Did you go right there, or was there some in between?
Centerville.
Centerville. Okay.
And then Centerville to Sioux Falls to Elk Point back to Sioux Falls,
Here we are.
Yeah.
and
Now I'm trying to put, I had terrible on me, but I had actually forgotten on the way here that you are also a veteran,
Oh,
Yes.
I was a Navy veteran.
Navy veteran.
2 years.
2
and
years.
I covered the world and in a Pacific cruise after the war had been signed. I got in the war before it was over, but while I was in there, it became over.
That's
They said-
good.
He was on his way to Japan 3 days out of Honolulu on an aircraft carrier heading to Tokyo
Oh wow.
when they signed the treaty, or
Yeah.
the
I didn't even know that.
well, that's
Yeah,
I
there you
looked.
go.
I mean, I did some digging on the USS Antietam, and that's the ship he was on, and they were literally halfway to Tokyo when the Japanese surrendered. And so, tell them about when you got there, what you did when you were there.
Well, we policed the cities of Japan. I can't remember the name of the city in Japan that was the biggest town in Japan, but
Tokyo, right? Tokyo.
Tokyo, yeah. And so we got,
That wasn't anything to do with the war.
Well,
That's where he grew
But
up.
it's the closeout of the war.
yeah, it had something to do
it was
with
at the end. It was right after the war had been.
But there was no
stopped.
fighting of any
Well, but
kind.
they didn't know that.
So you were policing Tokyo over there, and you were in the Navy for 2 years.
2 years.
So did you spend all of that or more than half of that on the ship or doing duties right from the ship?
14 months on the ship.
14 on the ship.
Ask him what he did on the ship.
There you go.
You
were a secretary.
Yeah, I was a secretary.
Yeah?
I worked as a yeoman.
Yeoman, that's
They
the word.
keep track of things like your leaves that the sailors have, and the pensions, and my job
More numbers.
was to send in to the Bureau of Naval Personnel any of the doings that fell on the day before.
And he used to reach up while they had the call in the morning and put his hand up on a pipe. That was a no-no. And then he had to do, wasn't 100 sit-ups or pull-ups? And he was in such condition, such good condition, that wasn't much of a punishment.
What was the deal with the pole?
What?
What was the deal with the pole
The pipe.
or the
He
pipe?
wasn't supposed to have his hand up there.
Why?
It's the rules.
Okay. So were you
Us
kept
military-
cigarettes or something? Do you hide stuff up there or what?
It was kind of an office type.
Feel free to drink your water. I'm needing it. Yeah, so I apologize. I forgot on the way here that you were a veteran, but then I met another guy named Max here. He's a 2-year Vietnam veteran.
Yeah.
And he said they got the pictures on the wall, so I went over there and found them. So your picture that's on the wall, we'll put it up here right now on during the podcast. It's pretty cool.
We, after the war was over, well, we traveled in and around Tokyo quite a bit, and that's where I think that we were a little bit at risk because the Japanese had just been defeated, and they hadn't taken it very well.
Yeah, that's what
And-
was going through my mind, that there
And
was
we
plenty
had a lot of
danger.
Japanese that you couldn't help but mingle with, but fortunately, we got by without any problem. And
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in a country, a war they just lost, and lost in a big way with the
Yeah.
2 bombs, and then you're in their biggest city right there. Plenty of danger there. Plenty of threat. I'm glad to hear that nothing bad happened over there. So.
yeah, it is. Or I wouldn't be right here today.
So did you get drafted or did you volunteer?
I enlisted in the Navy, but I had been drafted by the Army. I taken my physical. I got a letter to report to the Army, but I called up the naval personnel, and my buddy and I, we went to Omaha, and we signed up for the Navy.
Were there any other family members of yours that did time in the military? You mentioned your brother.
That's
No,
Did
not
you
any
have any
other
others?
members of the family, not the direct family.
Just
Yeah.
your brother. Your brother.
yeah.
Yeah,
Your brother Harold was in
yeah,
the Army,
yeah,
and he saw action.
yeah. He did.
He saw a
he,
lot of
He
action.
saw
he saw a lot
action.
more. Not, I had nothing
He
compared to
was,
him.
what, 6 years older?
Shell shocked. 5.
5? Yeah.
5 years
Yeah,
older.
he
yeah.
saw quite a bit of action.
He had a medical discharge.
Then he worked
For
for
being
Walgreen
shell-shocked.
Drug for many years, and my father bought Walgreen Drug stock, and it turned out to be a great deal for him
Yeah,
because he made some real good money with that stock.
yeah. I think we had talked during the meeting once, but I asked if you had done the honor flight. I thought that he did not.
No.
No,
Yeah.
I could have.
Yeah, I really wish you would have, but there's a lot of guys that.
Yeah,
people that
I
hold
wish I would
back.
have too now.
Yeah,
But at the time, I was just satisfied to be grounded.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I really wish that you would have done that. And Mr. Bob Vanderlinde, Coach Vanderlinde, he was the assistant coach, wrestling coach when you were coaching me, and he goes to these meetings too. And he did that, and he went with his grandson, which was really cool. What made it more special? It's a tragedy, but that grandson passed away about 1.5 years later.
Oh.
Yeah, I think his appendix burst down by Spink during a blizzard, and they couldn't get to him. And that was just a tragedy. That's just, it hurts him constantly. But I'm glad that he's got that that memory.
Memory. Yeah.
That, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you're not too old to go on honor flight yet. Or Chad or Myrna or somebody you take.
Well, he's had the opportunity, but he has been to Washington D.C.
Yeah, I have been in Washington.
That's
but,
right.
so it's
I threw up in a hotel room.
Oh my gosh. Did you eat some bad food?
I don't think I've ever thrown up since.
Oh, I think so. We had pizza late at night.
Oh man.
I think, and we'd come on an airplane, and I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah, probably mess with the ear a little bit.
I don't know, but I think, yeah.
I think Dad, after he had traveled the world for 14 months, when he got back, he didn't really want to travel anymore.
Yeah.
So we took 2 family vacations growing up. One to the Black Hills, one to Duluth, Minnesota. That was our travel
was it.
experience.
Yeah.
So Dad didn't really want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that correct? Yep.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people down where we grew up that,
They don't
and
want,
since we live right down where 3 states or 4 states come together,
Yep.
they've been to 4 states, but only like maybe 100
Oh, yeah.
miles into each one.
Well,
or something,
you can go to where I lived. We were a mile from the Missouri River, so the Nebraska was just about a mile south of where Vermillion,
Yep.
and you go east, and you have Junction City, or Elk Point, the next, and you go west, you have Meckley and Gayville and Yankton, and you go north, you have Centerville and
Beersford.
huh?
Beersford.
Yeah, that's east.
Who could want
Oh,
more?
yeah, that is east, isn't it?
Yeah. That circle,
Yes.
that was the world.
Yeah, that was the
right
world.
there. So when you were in the Navy on the ship, did you cross the equator at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Did they have a ceremony for
Oh,
you or
you
something?
bet.
What happened when you crossed the
whole
equator?
days. You started out early in the morning, and it was haze and things that you remember. We had a chief petty officer that had let his body go all to heck and had a big belly, and they laid him down on a cot and exposed his belly and then put some terrible oil on it, and they made you kiss the belly for our death. Yeah, and you better do it because you couldn't get away without doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got some traditions yet, but I think
Yeah.
maybe they've throttled back a little bit nowadays.
Yeah,
but
but
there are definitely
Then it
traditions.
goes in your stock record, that you have crossed
you
the equator.
crossed, that's
So
right.
if I have to go across the equator now, I can't be required to go through the initiation.
Yep.
What were the
got-
names of those?
You've got a card.
Yeah, what were the names of those before and after?
What?
The names that you had before you crossed the equator and then afterwards. Something about
Like toads or
Saddleback
frogs or
or
some.
sillyback or something.
Yeah, I can.
What are those names? You've told me.
Yeah, I've heard it too.
Saddleback.
Saddleback?
No, but something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you go to we had the
Tadpoles or some such
Yeah.
Green, yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds. I think
Shellback?
I've maybe heard of
Shellback.
Shellback?
There it is. Shellback.
Shellback and a pollywog. Does that ring a bell?
Well, just the shellback does.
Kind
Okay.
of does, but I don't know.
But they've got pet names.
They
in
got
different
names,
services for different portions of your training and stuff.
He does have a card that
Mm-hmm.
says he's graduated from this.
Yep. Across the equator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And you never have to cross it again.
Yep.
Well, you've got the card that says that you crossed into Iowa twice, right? That was to go to the casino.
Yeah, they didn't give me a card.
Oh, they no card? Oh,
It was.
they just took your
It
money.
would have been temporary.
They just took your money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to your coaching.
Okay.
people have different coaching styles. Let's pick football first. How would you describe your coaching style?
Well, crude.
Never any profanity.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no profanity, but still, they knew I gave away my mood quite easily.
My brother Jack and I talked about one of those we were watching his grandson play last Friday night. And nowadays, even in high school, they'll go in the shotgun most of the time. We never did any of that or much of it. But every time I see a back or an end or somebody running left or right, I was like, especially that night, I told Jack, I looked at him, he knew exactly what I was thinking. I said, you ran north or south. You didn't run left or right. And Mr. Nelson, Coach Nelson, would really get after you for that because you'd rather just use your whole body and just shove for that 3 yards than run 20 yards for 1 or none, kind of thing. But, yeah, we talk about you quite often when we're watching football together, my brother Jack and I, because you obviously coached both of us.
Yep.
You was a senior and I was a freshman. Both played center. I remember you lying about my weight, maybe even a little bit more than normal. Because I weighed 145 pounds sopping wet trying to play center, but I don't know. I couldn't. I tried the backfield when I first started, and I think I needed to have like a playbook so I could study. I couldn't just see it happen once and be thrown in a position and get it right. And I was like, you know what? I think center looks pretty good. You get to touch the ball every play.
Well, I remember hearing him many times. The center was the most important person on that team, essentially, because that's the first person involved in the offense, and that has to be successful. If it isn't, you're in trouble.
And you want to make sure you get the snap count right because you don't want to have, like I've heard in the NFL once in a while, false start, everyone but the center.
Yeah,
Because he's still holding the football.
Exactly.
Oh, man. And the other thing I remember in football is if the defensive end let anybody around them, that's what would get him the hottest. Yep. Couldn't do that.
Inexcusable.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Oh, there was one other thing we talked about. I got it written here. You brought it up, though. You talked about your head injury a while back, and then we talked about if somebody kind of got their marbles shook up a little bit in football, what was your criteria for letting them back in the game?
Well, they had to be able to count backwards from 10.
And then there was something else where it was a little more jokingly like, tell me if I get this wrong, but if you can smell the flowers again, you can go back in. Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know where he had flowers.
We don't know either, but
I think the counting to 10 probably.
counting to 10 usually did it.
Do you think you're – and we'll stay with the coaching style, but we'll go to wrestling now. What I remember is sticking to the basics, like straight up to the basics. How would you describe your wrestling coaching style?
I think that would be correct way to think of it. I had Ray Wellman, who was a successful wrestling coach in Sioux Falls, and I had him come down to give me, we had a day of instruction, and that was a very important day because he taught me some fundamental things that I needed to say, and I really enjoyed coaching wrestling.
Mm-hmm. It was evident. It was evident that you loved that sport and football, of course.
He never had anything to do with wrestling before, other than keeping time.
Yeah, I think Mr. Vanderlinde was kind of thrown into that as well. But
the guy that I remember the most was what was Scott Davis's
Brian.
Brian Davis?
Class of 79.
Is that right?
Yep.
Brian Davis.
Yep. Brian Davis.
Well, anyway, when he beat the state champion in the region in wrestling, that was a high point of my wrestling.
Yeah. Didn't he start late also wrestling, Brian Davis? For some reason, I'm thinking he did.
Probably. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you can move around all you want.
Well, I can't go long until I have to go to the bathroom again.
Okay. Well, we'll display the hat here, and
Yeah.
we're all going to take a break.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're back from the break. We're going to continue on from where we were. What I'm looking at here is what do you think are some of the important things you learned from coaching?
Well, there's a lot of things that might be just about equal, but I guess that never give up on anyone. That because they might turn around and fool you. You know, there has been instances where that has happened, and so it's a good idea to give everybody a thorough chance to make good.
And you did that scholastically too. I know of a story.
You do.
Yep. Lived about a block away from me, and his name was Dick Sheequin.
Oh,
And his dad was Stan Sheequin. His mom passed away when he was young. Big family. And he had trouble with math. But he ended up going in the Navy. I think he might have retired from the Navy. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask his sister Mary. She was back recently. But I remember Dick coming back from the Navy, and he was in electronics and radio repair and all stuff, and he had to learn a ton of math. And I remember him looking me in the eye and saying, "Mr. Nelson would be proud of me right now." And that was kudos to you, because either he just wasn't catching it as much early on, but you never gave up on him. And then next thing you know, he's got a career in the military with a math type career. So yeah, I wanted to tell you that.
Yeah,
for sure.
thank you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mary was a classmate of mine.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We just had our 50th class reunion. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was back for that, and then probably your brother Bill's funeral.
Right.
Tragic.
Frank Stickney and Sandra, they had a girl named Gwen. And Gwen was in the lower freshman class, I think, when I left, and I could see that she was going to be an honor student, absolutely. And of course, she had a wonderful background in her mother and her father. Her mother taught at University High School, where I went to high school, and her. So anyway, I got a real nice card not too long ago from Gwen Stickney, the girl that was a grade school gal.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that during our meeting.
Did
I love those meetings. I'm so glad that you guys found me. And through Facebook, I think you and Chad.
Yep. We found you.
Yep. So speaking of that, how about you two fill us in on the family that you two started? You can put some in there too. But
well, 2.5 years, and we were in Centerville. Craig was born, and he was born on a Monday night. Glenn had a basketball game the next night, and I think he came to the hospital late in the afternoon, went back for the basketball. But anyway, Craig got a lot of attention that night. the cheerleaders, I remember, had a special yell, and they gave him a lovely blue blanket, and there was a lot of talk. And of course, then in Centerville, we had Joe Burgum. And Joe kept track of where Glenn was all day Monday. We went to the hospital about 1:30 in the morning on Monday. Forgot to turn the alarm off, so burned it out, the electric clock. And Joe checked at breakfast time, no baby. Glenn went and had breakfast with his dad. Fresh, lunchtime came and still no baby. Joe put the word around, no baby yet. And he had lunch with his dad. And then it was supper time, and well, he guessed he'd go and have dinner with his father. And of course, Joe put the word around, no baby yet. But boy, at 7 o'clock, did big things happen fast.
Oh, yeah.
And that was real exciting. And then we left Centerville when Craig he'd been born in December. We left in the fall, or late August, before football started in Sioux Falls. And then Merzan came along 2.5 years later, and 4 years after that, Chad. They went to grade schools, and we had people riding buses, and it was very much family time. We also took foster children. We had 11 foster children, either Native American or black. That was a really good experience for everybody. We really learned a lot and developed a real love for these children, which we could not have. This was made clear. These children are going to be adopted, and your job is to help them adjust to family life.
Yes.
And it was an exciting time, and we had them then, 11 of them, for about 10 years.
Wow. Now, was some of that when you were in Elk Point?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
Yeah, one.
One, Elk Point.
One had
Okay.
who died this past year.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Oh,
But
sorry to hear that.
he went in with a wonderful family, and his siblings were adopted. He was the fourth one.
Who's this?
Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
And Jamie, I laugh every time I think about it. His sister, Carrie, who is now quite important in Sioux Falls activities at community fairs, was a Korean. And whenever she'd get mad at Jamie, she'd say, well, you may be older than I am, but I was here first.
Claiming stake of the territory.
Oh, I think that's just so cute.
So were they younger than you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
By a
yes.
ways?
They started when I was about a 7th grader.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I was a 7th grader when we
Just
started.
about ready to learn to babysit.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I should have
I
figured.
was thrust
You
into a
were.
babysitting
Right.
role at that point.
right.
I think I'd already had some practice.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah, I should have figured it was younger than you, but
Yeah.
question how
Yeah.
far.
And
so
they
it was
always
ways.
said, we don't like Craig, but he's a good babysitter.
Probably had a little authority behind you there because you were responsible.
Somebody had to take the reins and,
Right.
be responsible. So,
Yeah, well, that was a good definition.
well, you learned, I learned a lot about babies and toddlers and little kids because we always had one in our house,
And we
for
had
a long
little
time.
ones,
Little
too.
ones.
And
So-
looking at the photos that we have, your life with the kids has really kept going.
It's worked very well. Yes, we've been very fortunate. So now I've got grandkids, and they have great grandkids. So that's been a fun to see that all come to fruition. So
Were you in Germany with some of them?
No.
Maybe
I
a year
did
or so
meet.
ago?
Yep, I
sure you did.
Brother Chad and his wife rented a boat, I should say a yacht, off the coast of Croatia,
Oh, that's
and we
right.
took the yacht from split Croatia to Dubrovnik. And then my middle son and his wife, Kate, David and Kate, they basically honeymooned around the world to 70 countries for a week. And they met us
A year. They
a
went.
year. What did I say? A week? Yeah,
Yeah,
a
a
year.
year.
That's what I meant. Thinking too far. This, radio stuff can make a guy nervous. But anyway, I met them in Croatia and spent a couple of days, and then we went on to Germany to Oktoberfest in Munich.
That's what I
and
saw the
spent
pictures
several
of.
days there. That's what you saw. Yeah, probably the castles and probably the beer tent and things like that. So
Yeah, because I saw it just the other day. I hopped in
Okay.
your profile a little
Yep.
bit here.
Yep.
Not creeping, just
yeah,
watching.
no, that's well. You didn't get to see very many because I had my Facebook was hacked about a year and a half ago.
Oh, that's
so
right.
most of it is gone. But I have a
Yeah.
few remnants of a few pictures left. So
I always wondered about that word creep, and if somebody has stuff on Facebook, it's like wide open. Should
absolutely.
understand.
Yes.
Well, you post it on there because you do
Yeah.
want people to see a little bit of your life.
Some
you
of the
know?
younger people, they'll use that term creep. or
Yeah,
whatever.
nah,
What?
that's if they don't want you to see it, they wouldn't put it on there.
When I was in Elk Point, after the kids were grown and the foster children were gone, I worked at the courthouse. And we always had a coffee time. And we were sitting there one day and they were talking about movies. And I said something about Alan Ladd. They just looked at me like, Alan Ladd? And then I knew. You've passed the mark, girl.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Did you what now pass the?
I was getting old
When
when they don't know Alan
when they don't
Ladd.
know who you're referring to,
Yes.
then
The first realization.
Oh, yes.
I came to that realization when I hired a young gal in our shop out at the Air Guard out there as a traditional guardsman, and she was the same age as my oldest daughter. That's when it started hitting me.
Right.
So how many children you have?
2 daughters.
2 daughters.
Two
Yep.
daughters.
And Amanda and Deanna, 8 years apart, and they're 2 grandkids up there too, little Jimmy and Ava. And Amanda's married to a guy named Jim. He's from up there. That's how she
Up
came
there
to be up
is where?
Anchorage. in
Anchorage,
Alaska.
oh.
Yep. So Amanda's been there 10 years. We've been flying up twice a year
Okay.
to see her. And then the youngest daughter, Deanna, finished her speech language pathology master's in New York, and then drove with some friends to Alaska to live there. So
My
she lives in
college
Amanda's
roommate
basement.
lives in Alaska.
Does she?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you been up there?
Oh, no. No, I haven't. I don't even have a passport, Jim.
Yeah.
This isn't really my fault.
Well, if you just fly over Canada, you're all right. Yeah, but it is beautiful up there. Anchorage is like an extra big Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
So the guy that took us fishing a couple years ago, he says, Anchorage, that's not Alaska, but you can see it from there. Yep. And then you mentioned your brother Chad. He was a year ahead of me.
Yep.
I didn't really know Mirza.
Mirza's our sister. She's out in San Diego, and Chad is in Minneapolis. I just was up there this weekend. We went to a Twins ball game and
Yep.
enjoyed.
Tell them where you sat.
Well, yeah,
That picture I saw.
he got tickets right behind home plate. We were about 10 rows up. We could see
Yep.
the breaking pitches as they came in, and that was a fun deal. We walked from. He lives in downtown Minneapolis. And we walked over and walked back, and then met up with. I had 2 cousins in town. This would be mom's sister Celeste. One of her youngest boy, David and Dana, his wife, were in Minneapolis for a wedding, so we got together with them Sunday night and watched the football game and shared a lot of old stories.
There you go. Yeah, for his team, I hiked the ball to Chad for 2 years, I think it was,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
His top athlete,
or 1 year, I think. Sorry.
Okay.
his top athlete in Carthage, turned out to be our brother-in-law.
Oh, there you go.
My sister had been fond of him since 2nd grade. It lasted all through high school and college.
Nice.
And he was a very good athlete.
Yes, he was. he would be one of the first top 5, that's for sure. Maybe the top 2 or 3, but
Did you have any like sports heroes that you emulated or looked up
Oh,
to?
Stan
or-
Musial.
huh?
Stan Musial.
You mentioned a few at a meeting. Who are some of the people you idolized in sports?
Well, Stan Musial was one of them,
Yep.
and Morneau with the Vikings
The Twins.
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 Justin Morneau.
It's, yeah,
Yep.
he had about 50 some home runs, and I stayed up and listened to his games to see how many he would hit,
Mm-hmm.
and I followed him. And that was
He got a personal letter from Bud Grant when he retired, from a handwritten letter from Bud Grant when you retired, which was pretty cool.
yeah, that is.
Because how many years of coaching when you retired is an amazing
For
number
me?
of years. Yeah, for you.
33.
35.
35?
35, I think.
33.
Yeah. So you got the letter from Bud Grant then when he retired?
Yes.
Wow. How did he find out to do that?
Well, they have their, and you get to be like him. He has his routes that he depends on for publicity, and they would just do
Yep.
that.
We
Yeah, that's
ended
cool.
up in Chicago on our honeymoon.
You did.
Yeah. No plans made at all.
Well, the way you said that, it kind of sounded
So-
that way.
And we didn't know our way around Chicago,
Nope.
but we ended up at Wrigley Field.
Somehow.
Yeah,
Really
really.
interesting.
Right now,
Did there
No
happen to be a
GPS.
ball game going on?
You bet there was a ball game
what
going
a shock.
on. And there were tickets available for tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness.
That is quite the
where we
coincidence.
stayed,
What a surprise.
they sang a song about I do like the little dog in the window. I hope that he's for sale.
I know that song.
Yep. How much is the doggy in the
Yeah.
window?
How much
is the doggy in the window?
In the
Yep.
window.
Yep.
Yeah,
I do.
Yep.
hope it. Who is for sale?
I haven't heard that in
Oh,
years
golly.
and years.
You got to be the right age to remember it. You got to be a certain age to remember it.
Here's another one for you. This will make you think a little bit. Might be military, might be sports. What is the time that you had the most adrenaline going through your body?
I would think that my first game at Vermillion High School, after attending University High School that didn't have football, and I started at end, and Vermillion played Tyndall, and I scored 2 touchdowns my first game.
So you had some good nervousness going on, but it paid off.
Yeah.
Were they both passes to you then, and then you ran
No,
them in?
one was a fumble in the end zone
Oh, really?
I fell on, and the other was about a 12-yard pass
Uh-huh.
that I caught.
That had to be pretty rewarding, especially in
Yeah.
a new school as a senior. That's
Yeah.
not easy or fun.
No, and some of the senior kids at Vermillion High School didn't take particularly well to me coming over from University High School and edging them out for a spot on the team.
Yeah.
But after a while, I think they adjusted when they found out that I could add something positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
I had one little deal like that in track. I couldn't do the hurdler stretch properly, but I still tried to run hurdles. I wasn't as fast as my brother Jack, who had the 220 record there for a while. And I finally convinced my buddy Doug Taylor to come out for track.
Yeah.
And it was our junior year or something like that. And I knew he was fast, but he's also way flexible. So it didn't take him much time to
No, he was
to
good.
really pass me up on the hurdles. So, I was rooting for him. I was glad, but then on the backside, you can't help, your own ineptness kind of thing, But then I got just disgusted with myself enough that I asked Coach Rod Knutson, rest his soul, if I could run the 100. And that was just the event right prior to the high hurdles. And he let me do it. I just says, I'm just going to use it as a warm up for the hurdles, but I just got to run another race where I didn't have to be jumping over anything and stuff.
I got a letter from Rod Knutson's wife.
Marcia.
She thanks me so much for my my dealings with her husband, and she was very, very gracious with giving me some praise for something that I would have done with not any praise at all,
Right.
but
Well, that's why she thought it was special.
I
You
suppose.
were just being you, and it's
Yeah.
nice to have that acknowledged.
yeah.
And yeah, I've taken her horseback riding a couple times. Once before Rod passed away, and once after. Actually, we were supposed to schedule one this fall here yet, so give me a call, Marcia, or I'll text you. But anyway, yeah, and she grew up just probably a couple miles from the place that you sold me.
Oh,
Yep, straight east. I don't remember if it was 1.5 or 2.5 miles east. So, and she grew up in the church that I go to. So every once in a while, see her
See her,
at
yeah.
events and stuff there. Quality person.
if you see her again, tell her hi from me.
I will do that.
See, but she was real nice to me. She sent me a nice note when Rod died, and
So that was less than 2 years ago, or maybe just over 2 years ago.
It's right in that range.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I remember we were
recall.
getting terrible
It's
rains
within the
and
last
all that
couple of years.
stuff.
Yeah, last
Actually, it was
years.
flooding south of town and all
Okay.
that when
Right.
when his
Okay.
funeral happened down south
Okay.
of Sioux City. I'm gonna swing to you.
Okay.
What's one of your
well,
most
if we're going to go to
challenging-
bingo,
Oh, is
I'm
it-
not going to
You're
bingo.
gonna skip bingo today.
Okay.
You're gonna skip bingo. This is way better than bingo.
How often do
Yeah.
they do bingo here?
oh,
Every
2
day?
days a
it
week.
just
Two,
varies.
okay. Because
Wednesday.
usually when we meet on Wednesdays,
Yep.
Yep.
that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
I think they start at 2:30, so I was maybe
Yes.
going to
Yep.
suggest our meeting go to 1:30.
Yeah.
So we're done in an hour at 2:30 for him.
But he does it often enough, and
he
that
can,
he
You
can.
can miss bingo.
Yes.
Miss Bingo.
The other people will be happy because they have a chance of winning. now.
That's right.
Are you the big winner at
Yes.
bingo
Yes.
most time? Do you win any shotguns or anything like that?
No.
No, but they win. You win tokens
Tokens. There you go.
when you win in bingo, and then when you get enough tokens that you can buy things at the store,
Yep.
then you go and buy things at the store and bring it home and eat galore.
Yeah. I was walking around seeing more of this place before we started today. This is a nice place.
Yeah,
Really nice.
It is.
Yeah.
yeah, it is a nice place.
So it's one of your most challenging situations you've been through.
Ooh, challenging. Let's see.
However you want to define that.
Well, you mentioned stressful. I was going to say stressful was, I think, if I had to pinpoint, the birth of my 3 boys was probably one of the more adrenaline pumping, stressful situations that you watch in life. Those stand out more than anything else. I think the coaching and the counseling that I did for a career, I had good role models, working in seeing my parents involved in education and working with kids. So I don't think I ever really, there's a little bit of stress, but on the scale of things, when you're coaching a game or a track meet or something like that, you remember that it's a game or it's a track meet. So it's not something that, I used to tell the kids, do your best. Your family's still going to love you. Your friends are still going to like you. the world won't stop if you don't get first or if you don't win. So just go out and enjoy yourself. And it's the camaraderie that you, the relationships you develop when you're on a team, working together, setting common goals, things like that. To me, that's just one of the best things that you can do in your life to, learn to enjoy the company of others. And so, as far as stress goes, I don't feel like it's ever been, I don't feel like my career was, there were some, I did teach driver's ed for 20 some years. There were some stressful situations. There were a few times where I got out of the car and I just did the behind the wheel in the summertime. So it was just totally part-time, but I can remember a few times wanting to throw myself on the ground, kiss the ground, and be grateful that I was still there.
Didn't Coach Van Lindy and Coach Schaefer do that same thing?
They all, most everyone outside of Dad, didn't do driver's ed, but I think a lot of us did because you needed to. Dad sold vacuums in the summer, which was, I think, largely safer than driver's ed, but not as regular as far as a paycheck. So, I reluctantly took that on, and it was good. It was satisfying. I always felt of all the things you teach in school, one of those things is life and death, and that's driver's ed. So I felt that there was a real responsibility and importance of it. But so I did take it seriously and did enjoy aspects of it.
And you knew way early on that that's what you wanted to do for a career, or did it creep up on you?
Well, the driver's ed I did because they asked me, but I went to college. I went to college to be a teacher. That kind of became a school counselor. There's kind of a long history in there, which I won't go into totally, but I basically was going to be a school psychologist. After receiving my master's degree, my goal was to be a school psychologist, which required at that time a doctoral degree. Oh, wow. And I realized that I couldn't borrow any more money at that point and have a realistic chance of paying it off. So I answered an ad in the paper for a school counselor, K-12, at the Waubay Public Schools in Waubay, South Dakota. And as I left the interview, I was the K-12 counselor, I was the elementary PE teacher, head football, head track, assistant basketball, and what I later found out is I would be the acting principal for a pretty significant portion of that year because our principal got sick and then occasionally had to drive the bus. So it was, all of a sudden you did everything. I was the student council advisor, but it was a great experience. And I learned a lot about, and going back to Dad, I didn't aspire to be a football coach. And all of a sudden I'm thrown into being a head football coach. They'd fired the last three head football coaches who had won 3 games in 5 years. And this is 9-man football. I played 11-man football, knew nothing about it. Dad had coached 11-man football and had coached 6-man football. So it was a weird deal. But that year I learned, we played a 9-game schedule. 6 of the games were 9-man, 1 was 6-man, and 1 was 11-man. So and we finished 6-3. But it was Dad's offense and his, tutoring of showing me what he did that helped me, put together, an offense and a defense that worked. And I had 13 kids out for 9-man football. 2 of those kids were 8th graders. But we had a successful year. And the next year we went 7-2 and at that point I thought, okay, and we won our conference for the first time in over 20 years. So it was a good experience. And at that point, I think I decided that, okay, this coaching is kind of fun and let's see where it goes. So,
cool. Now you said you were teaching
for
a while?
Yes.
Is that something you wanted to do since you were a young girl, or how did that come about?
No, I wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
I wanted to be a nurse. But we didn't have chemistry. We didn't have physics in high school. I also wanted to be an airline hostess. Well, I soon figured out that I was too heavy to be an airline hostess. So mark that off. I also wanted to sing with Fred Waring. And I found out that wouldn't work either, since I never left Carthage.
Yeah.
And my folks had pushed the school teacher thing because of the nursing. It just didn't seem possible. However, our doctor, who lived next door, thought I'd been a good nurse.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that was good.
Yeah.
And I taught second grade in Yankton. We learned together. And I think, had I gone, and I only taught the 1 year, and then we got married.
Okay.
I think if I had had 4 or 5 years experience, I could have been pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure you would have been. You'd have been a great teacher.
Because I loved the kids. They knew I loved the kids. But discipline, how do you discipline second graders?
Right.
They'd come, that's when we were still in the desks, that were on the tracks that you could move like 5 at a time. I'd look down, and here comes one under those all the way to the front of the classroom, One little girl came, and she was determined I should have a dog. She had all these puppies. They came in plastic bags, which was a new thing to me. I didn't know about that. And so it was a great experience. And like I said, children have been my what shall I say? I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah.
They're not any better than a husband, but
They were your mission in
they
life.
were my mission, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mission and passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I stayed home for 20 years and reared children. Then I went to work in the clerical end of the director of equalization in Union County. And that was quite an experience. I remember the mayor, who also was an attorney, said, I don't know if you're going to fit in here or not. But I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like kind of a weird thing to say or to hear, but stranger things have happened.
Oh,
as
yes.
well.
Oh, yes.
So, well, yeah, this has been a great time. I hope that you guys had a good time with
yes.
Yeah, we did.
with it as well.
Thanks for everything, all your labor and trouble, and you've been a star in my outlook for years.
Years.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very, very.
Thank you.
Well, I liked everything about you.
Well,
And,
I got in trouble because I liked you so much.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I'll go ahead and say it. We had our senior interviews in the paper, and we were supposed to fill out this sheet. Well, the teacher that was supposed to give them to us had forgotten, and she gave it to us in the last 5 minutes of her class. So we're like, okay, I'm filling out all these answers, and they're like, who has helped you along the most, who's mentored you, and who do you admire the most? And I put you on there and stuff, and I would have, but I didn't think of it. Most people put their parents down. And I neglected to do that. So that kind of hurt my folks a little bit too. But you were mentioned there for sure.
Mr. Tiemans was my superintendent from the time I was in the 4th grade until I graduated from high school. And when they ask you, who was your favorite teacher? I was scared to death of him for 12 years, but he was my favorite teacher.
Yep. So I think to close this out, I'm just going to have you say one more thing for me. So you're reaching the great age of 98, and we're going to have a party for you coming up here in December. We had one the last 2 years as well.
Best party
And
he'd ever had.
It was good. So we're going to try to top it this year. But you've got kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. Think about people in your family, say 4 generations past that. Is there anything you'd like to tell those young kids? Just figure you got about 50 of them sitting underneath that middle camera. Got anything you'd like to say to
No,
them?
nothing.
Nope.
I just an ordinary.
Yeah.
I'm just an ordinary guy that made a ordinary try, and rather than receive a punch in the eye, you know.
You've always been very modest and very humble, and that's what people love about you. So,
Is that right?
but yep. So
Well,
we'll leave it up to your kids and grandkids to pass on
I
words of
think
wisdom.
that they have been humble too. So,
Not
you know,
this one.
our daughter,
That is not everybody
our
agrees
daughter
with
lives
that,
in
but-
San Diego, and she was a brilliant student in school. Not only that, but she was a cheerleader and everything else.
She's done great.
And
She's
Craig-
done great.
Craig has always been there when she has said, Craig, I need help. And sometimes it was to lift a box off a shelf. Always more boxes
Yeah.
than one.
I've always
But she smiles. The smile is never gone. And she's made a lot out of her life.
She people don't. I mean, Mers is very modest too, but she sold a screenplay. She's an accomplished writer. She was a great businesswoman. She's done a lot of wonderful things that, you know, are kind of well kept secrets, but has been
And-
very successful, and has a nice life. Has
Very-
had some health issues, but
Yes.
has a nice life
Very
that she splits
kind to
between
people.
San Diego and Scottsdale.
right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, very nice family, very successful family. I'm sure Chad's doing great up in Minneapolis there too. I didn't know he lived right downtown where I
Yeah.
could walk
They
the
just
ball game.
moved. Yep.
That's pretty cool. So, but anyway, I think we're going to close this out, and I
Thanks
thank
for
you so
doing
much.
everything.
And
You're a great representative of a student in Elk Point.
well, I appreciate that. I
You really
appreciate
are.
that.
If I was to pick somebody out as a rising star, you would be one of those highly selected.
Well, thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And the military grabbed me for 35 years, so that's where my
That's
stars.
Thank you
Really
for
led
your
me,
service.
35
Yeah,
years.
I wasn't
For your
looking for
service.
Yes,
No, I know,
that-
but that needs to be acknowledged.
That
we
does
thank
need-
you for your service.
And the reason that came is I swore off the military all through college, but then on my 2-year degree in electronics in Sioux Falls, my buddy Joe Larson and I were both like, we can't make enough money to leave this town if we wanted. So then we both ended up in the military. So,
Yep.
but anyway, thank you very much, you guys.
Yeah.
We'll
You're-
call
Thank
it
you.
close to this.
Yep.
Thank you for all your labor in getting this stuff ready for us.
You bet. Yep, I'll get it all edited up, and then I'll come here and watch it with you.
Yeah.
That'd be great. So that'd be fun.
All right.
Thank
bet.
you.
Thank you, you guys, and thanks for watching.
Don't put it on your head
Why is that?
because that's not necessary.
Oh, okay.
Look at this one.
Yours is part of your persona right now.
What would that be?
You can't even see his face because it pulls it real down here.
That's funny.
His sisters used to sit at the dinner table after we had eaten. This was before we were married, and I'd go out the farm. They were both in summer school. Everybody was in summer school. But anyway, sit and measure each other's eyelashes and then discuss who had the longest eyelashes.
Oh man.
And I won.